She has a way of moving through public moments that makes people wonder what is happening beneath the surface. Is she nervous? Or is she simply composed? Those who work with her say she is so natural and so remarkably professional that any nerves disappear the moment she steps into her role. By her mid-20s, Ella Blue Travolta had already reached a point many spend a lifetime chasing. At just 25, she walked a major runway and the clip exploded online, pulling in millions of views in a single day. It was not only her modeling that caught attention. When she appeared on a magazine cover without a bra, reactions were instant and divided. Some praised her for owning her body and her choices, while others were shocked, including members of her own religious community. Fashion insiders, however, spoke with near reverence, calling her one of the most naturally striking women they had ever photographed. The reason she keeps pushing boundaries traces back to a childhood shaped by creativity, faith, and profound loss. Ella Blue Travolta was born on April 3, 2000, in Los Angeles, weighing just over 7 pounds. Her parents, John Travolta and Kelly Preston, chose a home birth, guided by certified midwives, believing a quiet and gentle environment would welcome their daughter into the world without stress. Silence was part of their faith, and the house remained calm as she arrived. Friends visited within days, and early home videos show a baby wrapped in blankets while her parents danced, played music, and read scripts aloud. Much of her early life unfolded between homes in California and Maine, surrounded by artists, actors, and an ever-present sense of imagination. From an early age, Ella gravitated toward movement and expression. As a toddler, she danced around the living room, mimicking yoga poses she saw her mother practice. By 7, she announced to her father that she wanted to be in a movie. Only a week later, she was cast in Old Dogs, which would be released in 2009. Acting never felt like work to her. Her parents treated every small performance as something important, turning family time into creative play. Her spiritual life began just as early. At 6 months old, she was baptized into the Church of Scientology during a ceremony tied to her silent birth. Auditing and religious routines became part of daily life, shaping the rhythm of her childhood in ways that felt normal inside the family, even as outsiders questioned them. Fear entered her life early. At just 3 months old, she developed a respiratory infection that required hospitalization. She recovered quickly, but the experience left a lasting impression on her parents. Years later, tragedy struck again, this time with devastating force. In January 2009, her older brother Jet died after suffering a seizure while the family was on vacation in the Bahamas. Ella was only 8 years old. Just months later, she stepped onto a film set for her first role, carrying grief she could not yet fully understand. Despite her father's immense success and wealth, her childhood was carefully structured. Tutors, acting coaches, and private schooling provided opportunity, but her parents also worked hard to shield her from excess exposure. The family eventually settled on a large estate in Clearwater, Florida, close to Scientology's headquarters. There, Ella found peace in horseback riding, competing at a young age and learning discipline through training. The quiet of the countryside offered protection from paparazzi and pressure. After Jet's death, grief settled deeply into the household. Ella turned to journaling, which slowly transformed into songwriting. Writing became her lifeline, a private way to express emotions she could not speak. Scientology rituals guided the family through mourning, with long auditing sessions that sometimes lasted for hours. The process brought comfort but also weight, and Ella often found herself trying to ease tension between her parents while managing her own sadness. Public scrutiny made everything worse, especially as tabloids questioned the family's medical decisions. An attempted extortion case soon followed, adding another layer of stress during an already unbearable time. In 2010, the birth of her younger brother Benjamin brought a small light back into the family. Ella became fiercely protective, sleeping in his room and checking on him through the night. Acting continued alongside her schooling, carefully limited by child labor laws. On the set of Old Dogs, she showed a level of focus and emotional depth that surprised seasoned professionals. Though the film underperformed at the box office, her talent did not go unnoticed. She balanced her growing career with homeschooling and later with Scientology's Applied Scholastics program, thriving particularly in the arts. Her teenage years brought both growth and struggle. She performed in theater productions, excelled in equestrian competitions, and endured injuries that forced her to adapt and explore new creative outlets like vocal training. By her late teens, she became increasingly interested in what happened behind the camera. A visit to the set of one of her father's films led to a junior consultant credit in costume design, opening her eyes to storytelling beyond acting. Social media introduced a new challenge. As her following grew, so did rumors and scrutiny. She learned to speak for herself, using her own voice to counter false narratives. Around this time, she confronted body image pressures and emerged with a clearer sense of self. Weight loss was not about appearance but about reclaiming control and confidence. Her transition into modeling felt like a natural evolution. In 2022, she walked in a major fashion show during New York Fashion Week, and the moment went viral. She trained rigorously, handled mishaps with humor, and proved she could remain steady under intense pressure. High-profile shoots followed, including extreme conditions that tested her physical limits. When she appeared on a magazine cover wearing a sheer outfit, the backlash was loud, but she framed her choice as an act of vulnerable empowerment. Music remained her emotional anchor. She had begun writing songs as a child, but after her mother Kelly Preston passed away in 2020, music became essential. Recording demos in her father's home studio, she transformed grief into sound. Her debut single resonated worldwide, not because of her last name, but because listeners felt the honesty in her voice. Her EP Colors of Love became a deeply personal project, each song tied to memory, loss, and healing. Live performances tested her courage. On stage, fear sometimes caught up with her, but she pushed through, and audiences responded with overwhelming support. Rejected by some labels, she released her music independently, watching as it found its audience organically. Acting roles grew more serious, drawing praise from industry veterans. She trained intensely, endured physical and emotional strain, and earned recognition for her commitment. Behind everything was family. Losing her mother deepened her sense of responsibility toward her younger brother. She paused personal ambitions to care for him, choosing stability over speed. Later, she channeled her grief into purpose by founding a charity in her mother's name, raising significant funds for cancer research, and using art as a way to heal both herself and others.